Welcome. So in this session, we're going to look at how we may go about creating a simple menu that is a main menu for our program so that we don't have to be commenting and uncommenting um, the different panels in order to be able to navigate between them. All right, so we are going to be using the border layout up here. So this section is the north, down here is the south, we have the west, on the left, we have the east over here, and we have the center. All right, so the border layout divides your screen into these different sections. So you have the west, the east, the north, center, the south. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna be displaying some button options up here to achieve the four main activities. I want to put them in the west, doesn't matter. So you decide. I'm gonna put mine up here, and then I want to display the panels in the center. All right. So let's look at this. So this is our main menu. All right. So first in the constructor, that's going to indicate the type of layout I'm using. So I'm going to say set layout, new border layout. Now in addition to that, we are going to create two panels, one for the buttons and one for the workspace. So let's say J panel, button panel. So the workspace is where the information will be displayed. As in, if you click on add flame, it will display the option to add the flame in the workspace or to view the data and so forth. All right, so it will be an active space. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is to create instances. Button panel, go to new J button, new J panel, and then we have the workspace. Go to new J panel. All right. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create some buttons. One button that will be clicked to add a flame, one to view flame, one to find flame, one to update. So let's create these buttons. So let's add flame. Right, so add flame. Next one is gonna be to view flame. Let me just put button on them so don't get confused. Date. Find flame button. Next thing we need to do is to create instances. I'm going to create an instance of J button for each. So let's instantiate. So we're going to say add flame is equal to new J button. This will say add flame. That should be in double quotes. Next one is the view film. So that's view film equal to new J button. View film. And we'll update film button to new J button. Update film. And then we have defined flame button should be equal to new button. So we have our 4 main buttons that we're going to be working with. All right. So let's add the buttons to the panel. All right, so to add the buttons to the button panel, just going to say button panel that add flame button. Let's say button panel that add. Next one is view flame. Our next button is update flame. And our next button is going to be find flame. All right, so that's our button panel. And we can also set the layout for the button panel itself. So for the button panel, I'm going to use a grid layout. I'm stretching them across the top, so I'm going to say button panel set layout, new grid layout. Make it one row with 4 columns. All right, so that's for the button panel. All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna decide where on the screen we're gonna put the different panels. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna put my button panel at the top. So I'm gonna add the button panel now to the top of my J-frame. All right. So all I'm gonna say now is add button panel. And I'm gonna put that border layout. That north. So north is at the top of the screen. And the workspace, the workspace, border layout, that center. All right. So no longer will we have to be switching in between these. But if I'm commenting them all out, All right. And we're going to take care of the options better than this. All right, so we can just take a little peep in terms of what we have so far. Let's just compile. Oh, there's a problem. Let's see if we can fix it. All right. Extra bracket. All right, so let's ensure that we would have added everything. Good, so it seemed to be working fine. Just ensure that we have the set layout, a new border layout up here. It was a bit down, somewhere down here, so make sure you have it up here. And let's compile and see. So far, this is what we have. All right, so we're going to be working with this. So if somebody clicks on add, view, update, fine. If you click on add, I want to see the panel displayed here. If you click on view, I want to see that respective panel displayed here. All right, so as usual, all you need to do is just add the listeners to the buttons, and then that will take care of it. So let's just wrap up that part. All right, so to each of the buttons that we would have created, so these are our buttons. We're gonna now add the respective listener, and then we'll have to create our listener class to enable them to work. All right. So remember, as we would have done it before, it's pretty much the same thing. So we are gonna say add flame button, that add action listener, new button listener. All right, so we're adding the listener to each button. Put a comment here. All right, so yes, we will see an error message there because we have not yet created the button listener class. The next button is the view flame. Next button is the update flame. And our final button is the find flame. All right, so we have the update flame, the find flame. All right, so good. So now that we have added the listener, let's go and create the listener class. Right. So down here, it's going to be a private class. So it's a private class. Button listener. Make sure that we're spelling the same way as we would have used it up here. And it's going to implement the action listener interface. And now remember the action listener has an abstract method called action perform. All right, so this method has to be overridden once you would have implemented the action listener. All right, so we just need to import java.awt. So we need events, start. All right, good. So now we just need to check to see which button was clicked. So depending on the button that is clicked, then we will specify the actions. All right, so remember earlier on before we set up the menu, we were commenting and uncommenting these. So now in the action perform, we can specify when the respective action should be taking place. So we have our view film. These are all panels. I want to move these down to the action performed, and down there we'll decide how to activate each based on the buttons that are clicked. So for example, I say now that if e.getSource is equal to, that means if the first button, let's say if the view button is clicked, let's look at the name of the buttons. The buttons are add film view button. Let's look at the view one first. So the view button is clicked. Then all that we need to do is to, first of all, we're gonna clear off our workspace. So if there's something on the workspace, we're gonna erase it. But before I do that, I'm gonna just add them so you can see the effect of not clearing them. So the first thing we need to do is to create an instance of the view panel that we'd have done before, which is this. Once the view button is clicked, and what we're gonna do now is we're gonna be adding it to the workspace. So all I would say now is that, all right, so I'm gonna add it to the workspace. Remember the workspace is that panel in the middle. Yes. All right, so I'm gonna do two of them so you can see. All right, so it says workspace is undeclared. All right, so let's see what's going on. Workspace is up here. All right. So let's take out this one. So we're adding to workspace. It's going to be the view. All right. Also, if the add flame button is clicked, all right, so all they're going to do is what we'd have done before, which is create an instance of add flame. All right. And so it's pretty much what we would have done before, just that they're being added now based on the condition. Let's say workspace. That add. All right. So before I put in the others, let's run it so you can see what's going on. So this is what we have so far. So I'm going to click add. All right, so it appears as if nothing happens. Okay, there it is. And if we click view, there it is. So it's adding everything here. And if I click add again, it's going to add it below. We don't really want that. All right, so we're going to fix it up. So what we're going to have to do is just each time you click a button, we're just going to clear off everything and repaint and refresh the screen. All right, so inside here, let me just finish the other two. So let's see if it's gonna copy and paste. I know. That source. Matter of fact, you add the other two. I'm just gonna clear up these. So if we're gonna do whenever an option is selected, we're gonna say workspace that move all. So pretty much you're gonna remove everything from the workspace. You're gonna add a new item to it. Let me just put it, yeah, that's the. All right, so once you add a new item, as in the new instance to the workspace, we're gonna say workspace. That's so once you add a new instance, we are just going to repaint and revalidate. So workspace that repaint and workspace that revalidate. So we're just updating the screen once a button is clicked, and that will clear off what is there before, repaint it, and revalidate so that the information can be nicely displayed. All right, so remember, the first thing we need to do is to remove all. So before we add, so we're gonna say workspace, remove all. And then you can say workspace that repaint and validate. All right. So we have the view and we have the add. So if we run the program now, so if I click add, there it is. All right. And click view, it's in the view. add. All right, so I'll check on it. I realize I'm not seeing the labels here. So let's check on that. All right, but so it's switching nicely. All right. So you do the same thing for the update as well as for the find. All right. All right. So the preferred size here needs to be a little wider. Let me try 420. Let's see. All right, so there we go. So we're seeing the information. All right, so watch the video and you can fill in the code to get an update and the find film popping up. All right, so thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.